Hello students, welcome to the class. So today in this class we are going to begin the new chapter, that is lesson number 6, the Sultans of Delhi. Here we are going to study about various Sultans of Delhi. Actually what happened was, during the 11th to 12th centuries, the Turks repeatedly invaded Indian territories. What happened? These Turks, they were repeatedly invading these Indian territories. These invasions finally culminated in the establishment of the rule of Sultans of Delhi. Culminated means it reached to the peak of these establishment of the rule of these Sultans of Delhi around 1206 to 1526 CE. This lesson briefly states the policies of sultans, their administration, socio-economic conditions of the period, and the contributions made by them to architecture and literature. So, in this lesson, we are going to study purely about the policies of these sultans, how was their administration, their socio-economic conditions of the period, and also the contributions made by them in the field of architecture and literature. This is all we are going to study in this, the Sultans of Delhi. Beginning from the 8th century, there were repeated invasions from across the northwestern borders of India. What was actually happening is, during this beginning of this 8th century, there was invasions along this northwestern borders of India. These invasions aimed at looting the wealth, acquiring territories, and spreading Islam. What happened actually is, during this invasions, they were just stealing all the wealth that has, and also they were acquiring these territories, and they were spreading Islam. So what happened is, they started stealing all the wealth, they started acquiring territories, and started spreading Islam. Now let us study about the Arab invasion. Okay, the Arab invasion. The Arabs were the first to invade the Indian territories. Who were the first to invade the Indian territories? Was that they were Arabs who started invading the Indian territories. They invaded Sindh in 712 CE. That is, the Arabs, they invaded Sindh in 712 CE. As a result of their victory, the provinces of Sindh and Multan came under their control. Once the Arabs invaded, they took under the control of Sindh and Multan. With this, the Islam started taking roots in the newly conquered lands. That is, after they won or after they invaded Sindh and Multan, from this, what happened actually? Islam started taking roots in the newly conquered of these lands. However, the Arab aggression soon declarated. Their aggression, that is the aggression, or the, like what we can say is their way of telling people to accept Islam, or the way of their representation, that finally came on ending. The Turkish invasion, that is Muhammad Ghazni. Now let us study about the Turkish invasion. By whom? By Muhammad Ghazni. Okay. 3 centuries later, Muhammad Ghazni of Turkish origin invaded India. See, after the entire 3 centuries of what happened actually, Muhammad Ghazni of Turkish, who is, what he did? He invaded India. Muhammad was the Sultan of Ghazni, a small kingdom in Afghanistan. Who was actually Muhammad? He was the Sultan of Ghazni. What he did? He had a small kingdom in Afghanistan. He invaded India 17 times. See, Muhammad Ghazni, how many times he invaded India? He invaded 17 times, looting and destroying prosperous cities and wealthy temples. What he did? He actually started stealing all the everything from the temples and destroying those nicely well built prosperous cities and all the wealth from the temples. Prominent among such temples were Shri Krishna temple at Mathura, that is at Uttar Pradesh, and the rich and sacred temple of Somnath from Gujarat, that is Muhammad Ghazni. He has looted many temples. Among them, the most notable temples were Shri Krishna temple at Mathura and Somnath temple. Okay, now let us study about Muhammad Ghori. Muhammad Ghori. Okay. During the last quarter of the 12th century, Muhammad Ghori, who was ruling a kingdom in Afghanistan, invaded India and secured the provinces of Sindh and Punjab. See, what happened actually was Muhammad Ghori during the last quarter, means last fourth period of this 12th century, what Muhammad Ghori did, who he was ruling actually the kingdoms of Afghanistan. Okay, he invaded India and he secured the provinces of Sindh and Punjab. When he made further advances into Indian territories, Prithviraj Chauhan, the king of Delhi and Ajmer, defeated him in a battle. After coming or after acquiring these provinces of Sindh and Punjab, Muhammad Ghori, he came further in the Indian territories. But what happened actually is Prithviraj Chauhan, who was the king of Delhi and Ajmer, he defeated Muhammad Ghori in the battle. However, Muhammad was spared from death penalty. But in spite of being defeated, Muhammad Ghori, he was not given the punishment of death. He was saved from this penalty of death. The very next year, Muhammad came to India and fought with Prithviraj and defeated him. Since Muhammad Ghori, he was not given the punishment of death, then the next year itself, Muhammad Ghori, he came back, fought a battle with Prithviraj and defeated Prithviraj Chauhan. Muhammad ordered him to be killed. See, this time Muhammad Ghori ordered Prithviraj Chauhan to be killed. Delhi came under the control of Muhammad Ghori. Before returning to Afghanistan, he transferred the conquered territories to his general by name Qutbuddin Aibak. Aibak started ruling as the Sultan of Delhi. Once Muhammad Ghori, what he did? He defeated Prithviraj Chauhan. He gave him the punishment of death, and while returning back to Afghanistan, what Muhammad Ghori did is, he gave all the conquered territories to his general, whose name was Qutbuddin Aibak. Now, Qutbuddin Aibak, he started ruling as the Sultan of Delhi. Now, next we shall study about the slave dynasty. Okay, the slave dynasty. Qutbuddin was the first Sultan of Delhi. Who was the first Sultan of Delhi? Qutbuddin Aibak, whom we have studied just now. He was the first Sultan of Delhi. He had originally been a slave, and hence the dynasty founded by him is known as the slave dynasty. What happened actually was, Qutbuddin, he originally began working as a slave, and that is why the dynasty which is being founded by Qutbuddin is known as the slave dynasty. The slave, the Khilji, the Tughlaq, the Sayyid and the Lodi are the 5 dynasties who ruled Delhi. Totally 5 dynasties have ruled Delhi. Which were those 5 dynasties? That is the slave dynasty, the Khilji, the Tughlaq, the Sayyid and the Lodi. These are the 5 dynasties which have ruled Delhi. Now, He strengthened the Turkish rule in India by defeating his enemies. What Qutbuddin did? He started strengthening his army, strengthened the Turkish rule in India by defeating his enemies. To mark his victory, he started constructing Qutub Minar at Mehroli near Delhi. Later, it was completed by Sultan Iltutmish. See, Qutbuddin, what he did, he started defeating his enemies. To mark or to remark his victories, what Qutbuddin did, he started constructing Qutub Minar at Mehroli near Delhi. But that construction was completed by Sultan Iltutmish. You can see in your textbook the pictures of Qutbuddin Aibak and Qutub Minar which is being constructed in Delhi. We also know about only one female ruler in this Sultanate period whose name was Razia. She was also being killed. Let us know about that, okay? The only female ruler during the Sultanate period was Razia. So, during all this period, the one and only one female ruler was Razia. A daring sultana, she dispensed justice in the royal court. She dressed herself as a man and led army in the battlefield. See, she was a very daring sultana. What she did, she dressed herself like a man and she used to be in the battlefield like a man. Intolerant of a woman's rule, the nobles rebelled and killed her because she was a woman. Because of the what men did, because of the intolerance towards her bravery, what they did, they killed her. The nobles, what they did, they only killed Razia. Now let us know about the Khilji dynasty. Okay, the Khilji dynasty. After the slave dynasty, the Khilji dynasty came to power. In the sense, after this slave dynasty who came into power, the Khilji dynasty came to the power. Alauddin Khilji was the strongest of all the sultans of Delhi. Who was the strongest sultan among all the Khiljis? Alauddin Khilji. He was the strongest of all the sultans of Delhi. His rule was based on military power. Alauddin Khilji, what rules he made? Based upon those of the military power. Let us study about the policies made by Alauddin Khilji. Okay. Alauddin introduced several reforms in administrative, military and economic fields. He regulated the price of goods commonly consumed. He banned consumption of liquor and gambling in Delhi. The guilty were severely punished. See what he did? He started changing his rules. What all he did? He actually found several changes in the administration, military and also in the fields of economy. What he did? He changed the price of goods which have been commonly consumed. He banned the consumption of liquor and gambling in Delhi, but those who used to still consume this liquor and involve in gambling, they were punished severely. This was the change in the administration and these were the policies made by Alauddin Khilji. Now let us know about the military campaigns. Okay, military campaigns. Alauddin aspired to conquer entire India. He wished to conquer the entire India. In the first instance, he conquered North India by his military strength. At first instant only, at the first step itself, what Alauddin Khilji did, he conquered entire North India by the strength of his military. To South India, he sent Malik Kafur, a slave who was close to him, with a huge army. See, Alauddin Khilji, he ruled from the north, but from the south he sent Malik Kafur, who was a slave and who was very close to Alauddin with a very huge army. Malik Kafur invaded the 4 major kingdoms of South India and looted their capitals. What Malik Kafur did? He invaded 4 major kingdoms from the South India and looted from their capital cities. The kingdoms conquered by Malik Kafur were, we shall know which were those 4 kingdoms conquered by Malik Kafur. They were Yadavas of Maharashtra, whose capital was Devgiri, and then Kaktiyas of Andhra, whose capital was Warangal, and Hoysala of Karnataka, that is Dwarasamudra, and the Pandyas of Tamil Nadu, whose capital was Madurai. These all were looted by Malik Kafur. Malik Kafur, continuing his military march, proceeded up to Rameshwaram. See, continuing like this, Malik Kafur, he reached up to Rameshwaram. All along the route, his army destroyed several places of worship and looted wealth. While going to the way of Rameshwaram, whichever places were being found, what Malik Kafur and his army did, they destroyed many of the several places of worship and also looted all the wealth. Never before had such a huge quantity of wealth of South India flowed to Delhi. Like this, while moving towards, what they did, they went on looting all these places. Never before in the history the wealth was being flown to Delhi like this when Malik Kafur looted and took it back to Delhi. That much huge amount was being looted and flowed to Delhi. Alauddin patronized Amir Khusru, Amir Hassan, and other Persian poets. Alauddin, he had few Persian poets whose name was Amir Khusru and Amir Hassan. He built a new fort in Delhi known as Siri. See, Alauddin, what he did, he built a new fort in Delhi with its name is Siri. Alai Darwaza in Delhi, a grand structure, was his contribution to architecture. One more contribution towards architecture was Alai Darwaza in Delhi, a huge grand structure. That was the contribution towards in the field of architecture. Alauddin's last days were tragic. There were several revolts in the palace to overthrow him. See, there were so many revolts, so many fights inside itself to overthrow Alauddin. Finally, Malik Kafur, out of greed for power, killed his master and declared himself a sultan. See, since there were so many revolts going inside, Malik Kafur, what he did, out of his greed, out of his greediness for the power, what he did, he himself killed his master and declared him a sultan. But he too was killed by his enemies. But later what happened? Malik Kafur was also killed by his enemies. Within a short time, the Khilji rule ended and the Tughlaqs came to power. In a very short span of period, what happened? The Khilji rule ended up, and who came to power? The Tughlaqs came into power. That is, we are going to now study about the Tughlaq dynasty. The Tughlaq dynasty. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was the most notable sultan of the Tughlaq dynasty. So, who was the most notable sultan of this dynasty? That is the Tughlaq dynasty. Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he was the most notable sultan of this Tughlaq dynasty. He was imprudent and ill-tempered who took hasty decisions. See, he was very rash. He did not have much more concern, and he was very much ill-tempered who took very nuisance decisions, or we can say very hasty decisions. He could be easily enraged. In a word, he was a strange character. In a very short word, if we can explain about Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he was a person with a strange character. In a word, he would easily use to switch towards his different moods. And that is why what we can say he was a very strange character. Let us study about administrative experiments, that is transfer of capital. Now we are going to study about administrative experiments done by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. His first experiment was the transfer of capital, that is administrative experiments. Among those experiments, his first experiment was the transfer of capital. He decided to transfer the capital. To improve the functioning of the administration, he undertook several experiments. What actually he planned is to improvise the administration, to improvise the functioning of administration. He has done many experiments. Among them, one experiment was the transfer of capital from Delhi to Devgiri. Among those experiments, his first experiment was he decided to transfer the capital from Delhi to Devgiri. He was of the view that the capital should be centrally located. Devgiri, 700 miles from Delhi, was renamed Daulatabad. See, what happened actually is Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he had a view, or he had a thought that the capital should be at the center. That is why what he did, he shifted the capital from Delhi to Devgiri and renamed Devgiri as Daulatabad, which was 700 miles away from Delhi. He passed strict orders that all the residents of Delhi should move to the new place. See, he strictly ordered everyone that who all are residing in Delhi should be moved to this new place. The residents of Delhi who were forced to leave their homes faced untold misery in the course of their journey to a far place in the south. Those residents or those people who used to stay in Delhi were forced to leave their homes. Not only homes, whatever the treasure they were having in the Delhi, they were forced to leave there only, and they went to a journey to a far place in south. A large number of them died on their way, while people who were going from Delhi to Daulatabad, many of the people died in the journey itself. Anyway, after shifting the capital, he realized that he had committed a grave mistake. Once he shifted completely his capital city, he realized that it was a very huge mistake, a grave mistake. So he ordered reshifting of the capital and the people of Delhi. However, only a few survived to return to Delhi. So once after realizing that his decision was a big mistake, he told again the people to reshift back to Delhi. But this decision was only survived by few people. His next experiment was the issue of token coins. That was the next experiment of whom? Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Another reformer of Muhammad was that he issued copper coins in the place of silver coins with the same value. What Muhammad bin Tughlaq did is he started issuing copper coins instead of silver coins. That is, he replaced silver coins with the same value. That is, those copper coins also had the same value. But he failed to pass order that the only government had the authority to mint copper coins. Actually, his mistake was that he did not announce that only the government should mint copper coins. As a result, what happened? Everyone started minting copper coins. So, the value of these coins was totally fallen down. Consequently, people themselves began to mint copper tokens. This resulted in the devaluation of coins. The coins started losing its value as the common people, they itself started minting these copper tokens. Finally, he abolished the use of copper coins. Because of this problem, what Muhammad bin Tughlaq did, he stopped this minting of copper coins. He exchanged the silver coins for copper coins. The treasury was empty. Because of this exchange, what happened? Whatever the treasury he had saved, everything was empty. He was deceived by the people. This experiment proved a great failure and weakened the financial condition of the state. So, this experiment, because the entire treasury was empty, the people of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, they only cheated him. So, what happened as a result? It was a great failure and this weakened the financial condition of this state. The government could not meet the demand for silver coins in exchange for tokens. Because of the devaluation of copper coins, the government could not fulfill the demand for silver coins in the exchange of these copper coins. Discontented with Muhammad's rule, people revolted. While he was putting down a revolt in Sindh province, he died of a fever. People were not, because of these problems, people were not happy with the rule of Muhammad. When he was in a revolt in Sindh province, what happened? Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he died there because of fever. After the Tughlaq rule, the Sayyid and the Lodi dynasties ruled from Delhi for a short period. After the end of Tughlaq dynasty, who came? The Sayyid and the Lodi dynasties came to be ruled from Delhi, but for a very short period of time. The last Lodi ruler, Ibrahim, was defeated in the Battle of Panipat by Babur, who laid the foundation of the Mughal rule. What happened? Who was the last ruler of Lodi dynasty? Ibrahim. He was defeated in the Battle of Panipat by Babur, who found the foundation of this Mughal rule. Now, let us study about the contributions of Delhi Sultans. Contributions of Delhi Sultans. Okay, we shall first study about administration. Okay. Although the Hindus formed the majority under the Sultanate, the administration functioned on Islamic lines. During these period of sultans, the Hindus, they formed the majority, but what happened actually is the administration functioned according to the Islamic lines. The army formed the backbone of the state. Which was the backbone of the state? The army they formed, that was the backbone of the state. The sultans were supreme authorities who were given all the authorities. Who had the supreme authority? The sultans, they had the supreme authorities during their rule. Balban, a notable sultan, declared that he was God's representative and hence accountable to God alone. Balban, what he did, he was a notable sultan. He himself declared that he is a representative of God and only he can talk alone to the God. The sultans, however, had to face frequent revolts of the local rulers and were always fearful of losing power. Because of these things, what happened is these sultans, they usually had revolt with the local rulers and always the sultans had a fear of losing their power. Now, let us study about the economy. The burden of land tax heavily fell on the peasants. During this period, what happened is those people, poor agriculture labor, they were forced to pay the land tax heavily. Muhammad bin Tughlaq further increased the land revenue and got it collected mercilessly. If any of these peasants failed to give the revenue, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, what he did, he used to go to them, get the revenue, that too without showing any mercy, without showing any concern. They used to collect the land revenue from the peasants. Consequently, peasants are revolted everywhere. So because of these things, peasants, that is those poor agricultural laborers, they started revolting against these sultans. Weaving was a major occupation of the people. The cities provided employment to a large number of workers on account of brisk building activities taking place there. The sultans were mainly importing horses. During their period, weaving, that was the major occupation. The cities, they also provide employment for a large number of workers of doing what? Of brisk building activities. And usually the sultans, what they did is they were majorly importing the horses. Next we shall study about the architecture and literature. The main structure built by the sultans were the famous Qutub Minar, Alai Darwaza, and impressive entrance, Quwwatul Islam Mosque, and the fort of Siri. See what happened? Art and literature, that is architecture and literature, the main structures which were being built by the sultans were the famous Qutub Minar, which is 17 meters tall, and Alai Darwaza, an very impressive entrance, and also Quwwatul Islam Mosque and the fort of Siri. These are few main structures built by the sultans. All these are in Delhi. We find all these impressive buildings in Delhi. During the Sultanate period, the Urdu language evolved. That is, during this period, Urdu language started. Amir Khusro and Amir Hassan were great Persian poets of the period. These were some two great Persian poets of Sultan period. Amir Khusro was a great musician and evolved musical instruments such as tabla, sitar, and others. As Amir Khusro, he was a great musician. He evolved many musical instruments. Among them few were tabla, sitar, and others. The poet Jayasi wrote Padmavat in Urdu, which was a Sufi poem. One of the poet whose name is Jayasi, he wrote Padmavat in Urdu, which is a Sufi poem. Ramanand, Kabir Das, Rai Das, and Mirabai belong to this period. They have given some chronological order, that is Arab invasion of Sindh in 712 CE, Muhammad Ghazni's invasions around 1000 to 1026 CE, Tarain battles, that is between Muhammad Ghori and Prithviraj Chauhan, took place along 1191 to 1192 CE. Delhi Sultans, they ruled along 1206 to 1526 CE. After that, Qutbuddin Aibak, he ruled from 1206 to 1210 CE. Razia Sultana from 1236 to 1240 CE. Alauddin Khilji, he ruled from 1296 to 1316 CE. Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he ruled from 1325 to 1351 CE. Battle of Panipat and beginning of the Mughal rule was along 1526 CE. So students, this is all about the Sultans of Delhi, and also we have studied 5 dynasties of these Delhi Sultanates. I hope you all have followed this lesson. Thank you.